Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have three different kinds of things that I put on my YouTube channel. One is musical tips, and then I do another section on enjoyable prayer, how to have enjoyable and sustainable prayer. And then lastly, I talk about missions and like my missions log. But today, we're talking about musical tips. So musical tips, I got a question from someone in Hong Kong a couple days ago named Karen. If you're watching this, Karen, hello, how you doing? And so the question was that she's trying to get music software, and she recently got Main Stage 3, which is the newest version, and she's not really sure where to go from here, how all the plugs specifically work. And I understand it's been very frustrating to have this software, but then you can't plug everything in because things are plugged in wrong. And so that's something that I definitely that's something that I understand your frustration. And so but one way that I think that you're also asking, Karen, is how can I do this in a inexpensive kind of beginner startup kind of way? And so a couple weeks ago, I introduced my gear and how it works. I try to make it as portable as possible, yet with the greatest amount of excellence. But you can actually start with a more cheaper and easier, inexpensive option to begin to start your piano software training and beginning to develop that kind of skill. So I brought Krysta Cadwell here. Krysta's been on this show before. Say hello.
Hi guys.
And
Good to see you again.
Yeah, and so she has been doing piano software longer than I have. So she's a pro. So and the cool thing about it is she's done it in a very how'd you like to say economical way. And so she's really developed that. And so I wanted you to just share kind of what are the main couple cables that you have and what you use stuff.
Yeah, so I use just 2 cables. It's really inexpensive, especially if you're wanting to just maybe play around with using computer software and you're not sure you want to make the big investment straight away. So I have 2 cables. First one is a MIDI to USB cable. I'm using specifically the Mio eye connectivity.
This is the best. I've used it too before.
Yeah,
so.
this is just a really good, simple one. I think it runs around $30 US. And then the other one I have here is just a really simple stereo 1/4 inch to a mono 1/8 inch. So really simple cord. It has quite a bit of length, so I can reach wherever I need to reach it. And so those are just my two cables. That's all I need.
Very good. And so one thing I would say is that this is bypassing all the audio interfaces. You don't need to buy like a big, hefty, huge piece of metal that I have, that red box that I have. Trying to avoid that, which is great. And the other cable, not the $30 cable, the second cable is like $7 US dollars. So you can get that really cheap. And I would say for Karen, she's using a MacBook Air. I would just say don't run a ton of things on that at one time. I don't know. You may run into something called latency. Latency is basically you play a sound and it lags, or it takes time for the sound to go through to the soundboard and to create the sound. So. I think your computer can do it. I would just say just kind of be cautious of potential things like that. So really, that's awesome, Krysta. Now we're going to set it up and show you guys where to plug everything in.
Yeah. Okay, so I have my 2 cables, guys. So first we're going to start with the MIDI to USB, and we're going to take the one that says MIDI in. I think it's usually white. And we're going to plug it into the out. So MIDI out. We're going to take the MIDI in, put it into the MIDI out, right there. And then all we're going to do is plug it into the USB in the computer. Super simple. And then we want to make sure that the MIDI out button is selected on the keyboard as well. And then all we have to do is take our 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, plug it into the headphone jack, and then go over to your DI box, plug the right one, it's usually the red one, into the right, and then left one here. And then let's try it out. Let's troubleshoot, see if there are any issues. Okay, so now we're going to test it out here, and so I'm going to play, and it's coming through the speakers, which means the 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch thing. All of that's working, and then we're also getting MIDI signal, which means I can control my computer with the keyboard.
Very good. So if, say you need you may want to troubleshoot, what are some potential things you would like to look for? Maybe like looking at your preferences, if you use Ableton. I know Karen doesn't use Ableton, but maybe if someone does, where's preferences and where would you find that?
So the shortcut for preferences is Command, comma. So you can just click that and then it comes up. Otherwise, you can go to Live, Preferences, and it'll come up that way as well. So you, depending on what kind of interface you use or something like that, you may have to adjust the audio input, audio output portions. So that's something you can check. Also, if you can play a sound like this, if you already have a pre-recorded sound and it'll play, but you're not getting any signal when you actually play press the notes on the keyboard, then you know that the sound is working, but there's something wrong with the connection with the USB to MIDI. So then you want to check that. Alternatively, if you are getting signal from your between your computer and the keyboard, but you're not getting any sound into the speakers, then you know that there's something wrong with your 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch. So using just kind of like logic to figure out and brainstorm what might be the issue. And then you also want to make sure that you have a sound armed. You want to make sure that your volume's up on both your computer and within the program, and just play around, tinker around, let Matthew know if you have any questions, and that's essentially it. It's pretty basic.